Hello everyone, welcome to biology class. Today onwards we begin the chapter number 3, tissues, plant and animal tissues. In this chapter we will be studying about the various types of plant tissues and the types of animal tissues. And also we will be covering about their structure and the functions performed in various organisms, that is the plants and animals respectively. In the previous chapter, that is chapter number 2, we have studied about the structure of the cell and various cell organelles that are performing different functions there. So after the basic understanding of the cell, we will now develop that to the next level, that is the tissues. The cells as a whole, the cell in its own, it is actually a basic unit of life. The cell is the basic unit of life that we have studied in chapter 2. It is having various organelles, all are having their own responsibilities or functions. But the cell itself is not sufficient to control or to regulate a large multicellular organism's body. Like our own body is multicellular, we are all multicellular organisms, and our body cannot be controlled by a single cell. We are composed of multiple cells. Numerous cells are there. So all these cells are working together to control or to regulate our body functions. So this is what is forming our tissues. All the different cells are performing different cells and different functions, but there are certain cells, for example the cells in our eyes, they are all focusing on the vision. The cells that are present on our tongue, they are all focusing on the taste. So specific kind of cells are performing specific functions. So all the similar cells, let me zoom in here. So all the similar cells are performing a particular kind of the function. The similar cells lying side by side work together to perform the same function, and these kind of the groups, they will form a groups. So these kind of groups of the similar cells which are performing similar function, they will form what is called as the tissue. So this is the basic concept of the tissues. We can call them as a team of workers. Workers means the cells. The different cells, the similar cells, they team up together, they form the tissues. The definition that you have to learn, that tissue is what? It is a group of similar cells, and these similar cells are doing what? They are performing a specific function. A fixed function is assigned to all those cells. They all are working for that same cause or for that same function to be done. So that is what is forming a tissue. In the plants as well as in animals, there are different kind of tissues, and all the tissues will give us what? They will give us tissue systems. Different tissue systems are there. For example, the skin. The skin is covering all over our body, and it forms what? The skin forms the epithelial tissue. The muscles, all over our body muscle cells are there, and these muscle cells are forming what is called as muscular tissue. These muscles contract and expand, and only because of these muscle cells, because they are contracting and expanding, our body can move from one place to another. So all these muscle cells are doing the function of contraction and as a result movement of the body. So this is an example only we have seen of various tissues, how the different cells group up together to form what is called as tissue. In the plants also we are having certain tissues. For example, the conducting tissue, that example you can take of the xylem. Xylem tissues are conducting water. Xylem is made up of special kind of cells which can conduct water. So similarly we can take, for example, phloem. Phloem is also made of certain cells which are responsible for the movement of the food. So these are all certain examples of the tissues responsible for various functions in the plant and animal body. After the introduction to this definition of the tissues, we shall move on to our next topic that is given here, is a relationship between tissue, organ system and organism. As I just now told you, the different cells which are performing similar function, they will form what? The group of similar cell is called as tissue. Similarly, there may be something what is called as a group of tissues. So for that illustration, we will see here a small diagrammatic representation is given. From the smallest level we will see different atoms are there. In the chemistry we are learning different atoms combined together to form molecules. That is what you have seen in chemistry. Different molecules develop together or combine together to form what is called as a cell. This is not required in biology. So we will begin from here, from the cellular level. Different cells, different type of cells pile up together or combine together to form what is called as a tissue. In this particular photograph or this diagram, this example is given of what? It is a muscle cell. Muscles are formed. Muscle tissue is formed because of this. Different muscle cells are grouping together to form a muscular tissue, and the muscular tissue will form what? It will form a muscular organ. Muscular organ, for example, here what is shown is stomach. So stomach is a muscular organ. So here what we can say, from a cell a tissue has been formed, that is, in this case it is muscular tissue, and from a tissue what is formed? Organ is formed. So we can say from cell tissue system is there, cell, and from the tissues organ system is forming, and from this organ what will form? Different organs will combine together and they will form a particular organ system. Cell combine to form tissue, tissue combine to form organ, and organ combine to form organ system. Organ system example we can take, like stomach is shown here. So stomach is a part of digestive system, so this is an organ system. So likewise we can give the relationship between tissue, organ system, and organism. Different organ systems like digestive system, respiratory system, nervous system, and so on. All these organ systems combine together, and what we are getting is an organism or a human being, or we can say a plant body or an animal body in itself. So this is what is the relationship between all these different things. Now we shall begin the plant tissues. Broadly, the plant tissues are classified or categorized into two main parts. First is called as the meristematic tissue, second one are the permanent tissue. Meristematic tissue are the ones which can rapidly multiply themselves and they will form new cells. So these meristematic tissue are only the ones which are responsible for the formation of the new cells. New cells are formed as a result of the division and multiplication that is going on in the case of the meristematic tissues only. But in the permanent cells, the name itself is permanent, means they will not divide, they will not form any new cells, nothing new will form. So when the meristematic cells are matured enough, they will convert themselves into permanent tissues. Also, there are certain more types of permanent tissues that we will see in details when we come to this particular topic. So broadly, if the classification is asked, the plant tissues are classified into two parts, meristematic and the permanent tissue. Today we will restrict or limit our class to meristematic tissue only. So we will deal now with the meristematic tissue or the meristem. This meristem or the meristematic tissue is found where? First of all, the position we will learn. It is found in all the growing parts of the plant. Wherever the plant body is growing, it can be the top of the plant, that is the shoot of the plant, or it can be at the bottom, that is the roots of the plant. The shoot or the stem is growing upwards and the root of the plants are growing downwards. So on these growing parts of the plant, also on the branches are also growing. So on the branches also the meristem is present. On all the growing parts of the plant, meristematic tissue is present. So here also it is given on the tip of the root, on the stem, and all the branches. It is present there. Next thing, where else it is present, it is also present between the bark and the wood of the trees, which lead to the growth of the diameter of the stem. That means the plant stem can be becoming broader. Its diameter will increase. A thin stem will become broader in its diameter. So the thin stem will keep on growing itself. When the plant is there, its stem is very much thin. When it keeps on growing, its stem becomes broader in size, and when it becomes a tree, the tree is having a broad diameter of the stem. You can call it a bark, not a stem. In a tree, it becomes a bark. So that is meristematic tissue, where it is found, we have seen. Now we will deal with the characteristic or the properties of these tissues. We will also observe the diagram that is given here about the meristematic tissue. These are how the meristematic tissues or the cells are appearing when seen under a microscope. So first thing, cells are small. Second is they are all cubical in nature. You can see in the diagram, all these are cubical in nature. Next, cell wall is thin. The cell wall is relatively very thin. Next is nucleus. The other nuclei are large. So you can see here the black color dots are there. These are all nucleus and they are very large as compared to the body or as compared to the particular cell. Next is vacuoles are almost absent. You can observe in the diagram, vacuoles are not shown there. Next, point number 6, cells are tightly packed with no intercellular space. Here in the diagram will come, in between the cells, all the cells are regularly attached to each other. No space is there in between the cells. So therefore we will say there is no intercellular space that is present there. Next point will come now, that is point number 7. The cells are actively dividing and adding new cells to the plant. As you have already known, the meristematic cells are actively dividing, that is why this property is coming here. So all these meristematic tissues are actively dividing and new cells are formed on the plant body. Point number 8. The new cells thus produced are transformed into mature permanent tissues. As I already told, when the meristematic tissues become mature, then what will happen? They will transform themselves, they will change themselves into permanent tissues. So these are all the properties or characteristics of the meristematic tissues. These you have to go through them and learn them. The cells are small, they are cubical in shape, the cell wall is very thin, the nucleus is large, vacuoles are not present there, the cells do not have intercellular space. There are new cells that are added actively because of the division that is going on in the meristematic tissues. And last one, the mature meristematic tissues or cells will convert themselves into permanent tissues. Now we'll see the topic of this present video, that is the types of the meristematic tissue. Broadly, the meristematic tissue is classified into two parts, apical and the lateral meristem. Although one more category is there that is not given in the book, that is intercalary meristem. If it is not given, let us leave that. Here two are given, so two only will learn. One is apical or terminal meristem. Apical, the word apical means what? That means at the apex. And apex means what? Apex means top. So by the meaning of the word itself, we can understand apical means top. So it is present at the top of the stem. So here it is, the diagram I have taken for reference. At the top of the stem, apical meristem is present, and also at the lower end of this particular stem, that is at the root, at the last part of the roots, we can see here the root apical meristem is present. The roots will grow downwards and the stem will grow upwards. So this is what is called as apical meristem. So let us go through the reading one time. They are present near the tip of the root and the stem, and also in the growing leaves. The tip of the leaves are also having this, so that the leaves can grow forward in the size. So this is what is called as apical or terminal meristem. Terminal means what? Terminal means the end point of something. Next one, now the second type of the meristematic tissue is lateral meristem or cambium meristem. It is called as lateral or cambium meristem because it is present below the bark, and it is responsible for what? It is responsible for increase in the girth of the diameter or the diameter of the stem. The stem will become broader in size. The stem will become thicker in size because of this lateral meristem or the cambium meristem. So these are the two different types of the meristem. Here in the diagram you can see lateral meristem they have shown, that is present in the stem itself. It is responsible for increase in diameter of the particular stem of the plant. So this is what we have seen today about the introduction of the topic. We have seen that what the tissues are formed of, then the definition of tissues we have seen. Then we saw the relationship between the tissue, organ system and organism. And lastly, we have seen about the meristematic tissue, their properties, where they are found, and what are the types of the meristematic tissue. This was a short video. We will be covering the later part in the later chapter in the upcoming classes that will be going live from the next week. So we will begin from the permanent tissues in the upcoming class. So that is all for this video. I will wind up this session. See you in the next class.